Your words are more powerful than you realize. They shape how you see the world, how you interact with others, and most importantly, how you see yourself. Every word you speak carries energy. It either empowers you or weakens you, lifts you up or drags you down. The way you speak to yourself and about your life determines the quality of your experiences. If you're constantly speaking from a place of frustration, limitation, or fear, your world will reflect that back to you. But when you take control of your language, you take control of your destiny. Consider how often people trap themselves in negativity simply by the words they use. Someone struggling with their job might say, "I hate my work. It's exhausting and I never get a break." This statement doesn't just describe a feeling. It reinforces it. The more they repeat it, the more their mind searches for proof that it's true. They start noticing every little frustration, magnifying the problems, and overlooking anything positive. Their words have shaped their perception, and their perception becomes their reality. On the other hand, another person in the same job could say, "This is challenging, but I'm learning a lot. I'm gaining skills that will help me grow." That one shift in language doesn't just change how they feel, it changes what they focus on. Instead of feeling stuck, they start looking for opportunities. Instead of seeing obstacles, they start seeing ways to improve. Their words direct their brain to search for growth, solutions, and possibilities. And over time, their world shifts to match the new story they're telling themselves. Your mind is always listening to the words you speak. If you tell yourself, "I'm bad at this," your brain won't argue. It will simply accept that statement as fact and reinforce it. You'll start avoiding situations that challenge you, hesitate when faced with a new opportunity, and shrink back from growth. But if you tell yourself, "Improving every day," your brain will accept that as well. You'll start noticing small wins, feeling more capable, and stepping into challenges with confidence. This isn't just about motivation, it's about rewiring the way you experience life. Studies have shown that words impact not only your thoughts, but also your emotions and physical state. If you constantly say, "I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed," your body will respond with tension, shallow breathing, and a flood of stress hormones. But if you shift your words and say, "I have a lot on my plate, but I can handle it," your body relaxes, your mind clears, and you regain control. The words you choose don't just describe your feelings, they shape them. Think about the difference between saying, "I'm exhausted," versus "I need to recharge." The first statement reinforces a state of fatigue, while the second creates a sense of action. Instead of feeling drained, you start thinking about ways to refresh yourself. Instead of sinking into exhaustion, you look for ways to refuel. It's a small shift in words, but a massive shift in how you experience your energy. This applies to every area of your life. Relationships, career, health, and confidence, all of them are directly influenced by the language you use. If you constantly say, "I'm not good with people," you will avoid conversations, hesitate in social situations, and hold yourself back. But if you start saying, "I'm becoming better at connecting with others," your brain will start looking for ways to support that statement. You'll feel more open, engage more, and develop the skills to back up your words. It's not about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing language that moves you forward instead of keeping you stuck. Instead of saying, "I always fail," say, "I'm learning from this experience." Instead of "This is too hard," say, "This is a challenge I'm rising to meet." Instead of "I'll never get better," say, "I'm getting stronger every day." These aren't just words, they are instructions to your brain, shaping your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you start speaking differently, the world starts responding differently. People are drawn to confidence and certainty. If you walk into a room and say, "I don't know if this will work, but I'll try," you're sending a message of doubt. But if you say, "I know we'll find a way," you bring an energy of determination. That energy influences not only yourself, but everyone around you. The most successful leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers understand this. They use words that inspire action, drive results, and create momentum. Your words also set the standard for how others treat you. If you constantly downplay your value, saying things like, I'm just lucky, or I don't really know what I'm doing, people will believe that about you. But if you own your strengths and say, I've worked hard to develop this skill, or I bring a lot of value to this project, others will start seeing you in that light. Your language shapes your identity, and your identity shapes your reality. Mastering your words is not about being positive all the time. It's about being intentional. It's about realizing that every phrase you speak is either moving you forward or holding you back. It's about catching yourself when you fall into patterns of self-doubt, negativity, or limitation, and consciously choosing words that support your growth. Start listening to yourself. Notice the words you use when you talk about your life, your challenges, your abilities. Ask yourself, are these words making me stronger or weaker? If they are reinforcing limitations, change them. If they are keeping you stuck, rewrite them. If they are creating fear, replace them with words of power. Your words are a tool, and like any tool, their impact depends on how you use them. You can use them to build a life of strength, confidence, and success, or you can use them to reinforce doubt and struggle. The choice is yours. Every time you open your mouth, you are either reinforcing your current reality or creating a new one. Choose words that shape the world you want to live in. Speak as the person you want to become. And watch how, over time, your world transforms to match the language you've chosen. Your mind is the command center of your life. Every decision, every action, and every outcome begins as a thought. If your mind is undisciplined, your life will be scattered, reactive, and dictated by circumstances. But if you train your mind with the precision and discipline of a warrior, you gain the ability to control your focus, emotions, and responses. You become the master of your own reality rather than a prisoner of external events. A warrior does not wake up and hope for strength in battle. They train for it every single day. They push through resistance, discipline their thoughts, and prepare for challenges before they come. Training the mind works the same way. You can't expect to have mental toughness, confidence, or clarity if you haven't conditioned yourself for it. Just like a warrior strengthens their body through relentless practice, you must strengthen your thoughts through intentional mental conditioning. Most people let their minds run wild, consumed by fear, self-doubt, and endless distractions. They react to situations rather than take control of them. Their thoughts bounce from worry to negativity to hesitation, and they wonder why they feel powerless. But the truth is, just like the body, the mind will follow the patterns you reinforce. If you constantly allow it to dwell on limitations, it will seek out more reasons to feel stuck. If you let it focus on fear, it will find endless things to be afraid of. But if you train it to focus on solutions, strength, and resilience, it will respond with clarity and power. Mental training starts with awareness. You must become aware of the thoughts that dominate your mind. What is the first thing you say to yourself when a challenge arises? Is it, I can't do this, or I'll find a way? Is it, this is too much for me? Or this is an opportunity to grow stronger? The first reaction is not something you were born with. It's something you've been conditioned to believe over time, and that means it can be changed. The way a warrior builds discipline through relentless repetition, you can build mental toughness by repeatedly choosing empowering thoughts over limiting ones. One of the most powerful shifts in mental training is learning to control what you focus on. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on obstacles, you will see nothing but problems. If you focus on possibilities, you will start seeing solutions. Your brain is designed to filter the world through the lens you give it. If you train it to look for opportunities, they will start appearing everywhere. This isn't magic. It's the science of cognitive conditioning. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, which acts like a filter. If you tell it that something is important, it will start directing your attention toward it. This is why when you decide to buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that model everywhere. It was always there, but now your brain is paying attention. If you train your mind to look for growth, for strength, for ways to win, those things will become your new reality. Training your mind also means controlling the stories you tell yourself. Every single person has an internal narrative of a story they repeat about who they are and what they are capable of. Some people tell themselves, I always struggle, I never get lucky, things never work out for me. Others tell themselves, I always find a way, I am built for challenges, I create my own success. The only difference between these two people is the way they have trained their minds. One has conditioned themselves for limitation. The other has conditioned themselves for power. The question is, which story are you reinforcing? Just like a warrior sharpens their weapons, you must sharpen your mind with habits that reinforce strength. The most powerful warriors don't just fight battles when they arise, they prepare long before the fight ever begins. That means training your thoughts every single day, not just when life gets hard. It means starting your day by setting your focus, defining your mindset, and deciding how you will approach challenges before they happen. It means feeding your mind with powerful information, surrounding yourself with people who challenge and elevate you, and eliminating anything that weakens your mental state. If you allow negativity, self-doubt, and distractions to dominate your environment, you are training your mind for weakness. But if you immerse yourself in knowledge, discipline, and growth, you are training it for strength. Discipline is the foundation of a warrior's mind. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Feelings are temporary. Discipline is permanent. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions. They wait to feel motivated before they take action, and they let fear stop them from moving forward. But warriors act based on principle, not emotion. They train themselves to push forward no matter how they feel. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it through action. When you develop this level of mental training, hesitation disappears. You don't let fear control you, because you know that action is always greater than fear. Another key to training your mind is learning to control your reactions. Warriors do not panic under pressure. They remain calm, focused, and strategic. They know that emotions are powerful but must be controlled. When something unexpected happens, most people react instantly, driven by fear, frustration, or anger. But when you train your mind like a warrior, you learn to pause, breathe, and choose your response. Instead of letting emotions take over, you ask, what is the best move right now? This shift in thinking gives you control over any situation, because no matter what happens around you, you control how you respond. One of the greatest strengths of a warrior's mind is resilience. Life will test you. You will face setbacks, failures, and unexpected challenges. Most people break under pressure because they were never trained to handle it. But those who train their minds understand that adversity is part of the journey. They don't crumble when things go wrong. They adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. They see failure not as the end, but as a lesson. They know that every great success story is built on a foundation of obstacles that were overcome. If you want to develop the mindset of a warrior, you must commit to training your mind every single day. It's not something you do once. It's a lifelong practice. It means challenging your own thoughts, questioning your own limitations, and choosing strength over weakness, discipline over comfort, and action over hesitation. It means understanding that your mind is the most powerful weapon you have. And when you train it properly, nothing can stop you. The battlefield of life is won or lost in the mind. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who have trained themselves to keep going when others quit. They have conditioned themselves to see opportunities where others see obstacles. They have disciplined themselves to focus on solutions instead of problems. And because of that, they win. Train your mind like a warrior, and nothing will be able to defeat you. Not circumstances, not fear, not doubt. Because once you master your mind, you master everything. Emotions are not something that simply happen to you. They are not conditions that come and go like the weather outside of your control. Emotions are decisions, choices you make, whether consciously or unconsciously. The way you feel in any given moment is not determined by what happens around you, but by how you interpret those events. What meaning you attach to them and how you decide to respond. The problem is that most people don't realize they have control over their emotions, so they go through life as if they are at the mercy of their feelings. They say things like, I can't help feeling this way, or that person made me angry. But that's not true. No one makes you feel anything. You assign the meaning to the situation, and that meaning creates the emotion you experience. Think about two people stuck in traffic. One is fuming, gripping the steering wheel, cursing under their breath and growing more frustrated by the second. The other is calm, listening to music, using the time to relax or think. The traffic is the same for both people, but their emotional experience is completely different. Why? Because of the meaning they assign to the situation. One person sees it as a personal inconvenience, an attack on their time, and their mind reacts with stress and frustration. The other sees it as a neutral event, something they can't control. So they don't let it ruin their state. The situation did not create the emotion. The individual's interpretation, this applies to every aspect of life. Two people can go through the exact same situation, whether it's a breakup, a business failure, a challenge at work, and have completely different emotional reactions. One will spiral into negativity, telling themselves it's the end, that they're not good enough, that things never work out for them. The other will decide that this is a learning opportunity, a test of their strength, or even a blessing in disguise. The external event does not create the feeling. The story they tell themselves about that event does. Your emotions are shaped by three things: your focus, the meaning you assign to events, and the physical state of your body. First, focus. What you choose to focus on determines how you feel. If you focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what's not working, you will feel frustrated, anxious, or depressed. If you focus on what's good, what's possible, and what you can control, you will feel empowered, optimistic, and strong. Your brain is designed to look for what you direct it to find. If you focus on gratitude, you will start seeing reasons to be grateful everywhere. If you focus on problems, you will find them everywhere. The choice is always yours. Second, meaning. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning you give it. One person loses a job and decides, this is a disaster, my life is ruined. Another loses the same job and thinks, this is a new opportunity to grow and reinvent myself. One person gets rejected and says, I'm not good enough. Another says, this wasn't the right fit, and I'm getting closer to what I truly want. The event itself is neutral. The meaning you give it determines how you feel about it. And because you are the one assigning meaning, you have the power to shift your emotions at any time by choosing a new perspective. Third, your physical state. Your body and emotions are directly connected. If you slump your shoulders, lower your voice, and breathe shallowly, you will feel weak and unmotivated. If you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with energy, you will feel confident and powerful. Emotion is created through motion. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change your physiology. Change your posture. Change your body with purpose. You can shift from fear to confidence, from sadness to excitement, just by changing the way you use your body. Most people don't take control of these three factors. Instead, they wait for their emotions to change on their own, or they let their circumstances dictate how they feel. They wake up and hope they'll feel good, hope they'll feel motivated, hope they won't feel stressed, but hope is not a strategy. You don't hope to feel strong, you decide to be strong. You don't wait to feel confident, you take the actions that create confidence. You don't wish for happiness. You cultivate it by shifting your focus, meaning, and physiology. You have the power to interrupt any emotional pattern at any time. The next time you feel stressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed, stop and ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What meaning am I giving this? How am I using my body? Then make a shift. Change your focus to something empowering. Give the situation a new meaning. Adjust your posture, breathe deeply, and move with energy. In an instant, you can change your emotional state. The problem is most people don't take control. They let their emotions run them instead of mastering their emotions. The truth is, you already know how to change how you feel instantly. Think of a time when you were feeling down, but then you heard a song that made you want to move and suddenly your mood lifted, or a time when you were frustrated, but then a friend made you laugh. And just like that, everything felt lighter. Your external circumstances didn't change, your internal state did. And if you can shift your emotions in those moments, you can do it at any time on command. The most powerful people in the world, leaders, entrepreneurs, high achievers, do not leave their emotions to chance. They condition themselves to take control of their state no matter what happens around them. They understand that emotions are a tool, and they use them to drive action, to inspire others, and to create momentum. They do not allow fear, doubt, or stress to dictate their choices. They train themselves to access confidence, certainty, and determination whenever they need it. You have that same ability. You can wake up every day and decide how you want to feel. You can choose to focus on what's good. You can choose to move your body in a way that makes you feel strong. And the more you do this, the more automatic it becomes. Just like training a muscle, the more you train your mind to control your emotions, the stronger you become. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending negative emotions don't exist. It means recognizing that while you cannot always control what happens, you always control how you respond. You can acknowledge frustration without letting it control you. You can feel fear, but still act with courage. You can experience setbacks without letting them define you. Emotions are not conditions, they are choices. And once you take full responsibility for your emotional state, you step into a level of power that most people never reach. Decide today that you are in control. Decide that your emotions work for you, not against you. Decide that no matter what happens, you will choose strength, resilience, and confidence. Because once you realize that emotions are decisions, you will never again be a victim of your feelings. You will be the master of them. Energy is the driving force behind everything you feel, everything you do, and every result you create in your life. Your emotions are not random. They are directly linked to the level and quality of energy you bring to any situation. If you feel exhausted, drained, or sluggish, your emotions will reflect that, leading to frustration, sadness, or even apathy. On the other hand, when you are filled with high energy, when your body is alive, moving, and engaged, your emotions shift to confidence, passion, and power. This is why some days you feel unstoppable, while others feel like a struggle. Your energy determines your emotions, and your emotions determine your actions. So if they are something that arrives unexpectedly like the weather, but emotions are created through motion. They are the result of how you move your body, how you breathe, what you focus on, and the energy you generate. If you change your energy, you change your emotional state instantly. This is why when you exercise, you suddenly feel more optimistic, more powerful, and more capable. Your circumstances didn't change, but your energy did. Your body is wired to produce positive emotions when it is energized, activated, and engaged. The challenge is that most people do not control their energy. They let their energy be dictated by their environment, their habits, and their routines. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, scroll through negativity, and sit hunched over, you are sending signals to your brain that you are passive, overwhelmed, and reactive. Your energy drops, and your emotions follow. But if you wake up, take deep, powerful breaths, stretch, move, and take control of your physiology, your energy rises, and so does your emotional state. This is not an accident. This is how the human body and mind are designed to work. Energy fuels emotions, and you are in control of your energy at all times. Consider the moments in your life when you have felt truly alive. Maybe it was after a workout, a powerful conversation, a deep laugh with a friend, or a moment of intense focus and purpose. What do all those experiences have in common? They were filled with high energy. Your body was engaged, your mind was sharp, and your spirit was connected to the present moment. These moments didn't happen randomly. They happened because your energy was at a peak state, and peak energy produces peak emotions. The problem is, most people go through life operating at low energy levels. They sit for hours without moving. They breathe shallowly. They eat food that drains their vitality, and they surround themselves with negativity. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, unmotivated, or anxious. But the answer is simple. Their energy is low, and low energy cannot produce powerful emotions. If you want to change the way you feel, you must first change your energy. The fastest way to shift your energy is through movement. Your body and mind are deeply connected, and your physiology is the switch that controls your emotions. Try this right now. Stand up, take a deep breath, roll your shoulders back, and force a big, exaggerated smile on your face. Hold it for 10 seconds. Now, notice how you feel. You just changed your energy. And in doing so, you change your emotional state. You can do this at any time in any situation. When you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated, the best thing you can do is move, jump, stretch, go for a walk, do push-ups, anything to break the pattern of low energy and create a surge of vitality. Breathing is another direct way to control your energy. Most people breathe shallowly, especially when they are stressed, which signals the brain to produce more stress hormones. But when you breathe deeply, filling your lungs completely and exhaling fully, you send a message to your nervous system that you are in control. Your heart rate stabilizes, your mind clears, and your energy rises. This is why breath work is a core practice for peak performers, athletes, and warriors. They understand that energy is everything, and controlling their breath means controlling their emotion. If you fill your body with processed foods, sugar, and stimulants, your energy will fluctuate wildly, leading to emotional instability. But if you fuel your body with real, nutrient-dense food, water, and the right balance of movement and rest, your energy becomes sustainable and powerful. The same applies to what you consume mentally. If you constantly absorb negativity, whether it's from social media, news, or negative people, your energy is being drained without you even realizing it. But if you fill your mind with inspiration, learning, and empowering conversations, your energy rises and your emotional state follows. Your environment also has a massive impact on your energy. If you are in a cluttered, dark, stagnant space, your energy will reflect that. But if you surround yourself with light, movement, and an environment that inspires action, your energy shifts automatically. Think about how different you feel when you are in a clean, bright, organized space versus when you are in a chaotic, messy one. Your external world influences your internal state, and by designing an environment that supports high energy, you make it easier to sustain empowering emotions. Another key factor in energy management is rest and recovery. High energy is not about constantly pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about balance. Peak performers understand that energy is a cycle. You need both intense action and deep recovery to sustain high performance. If you are constantly drained, it's not because you are doing too much, but because you are not recovering effectively. Quality sleep, time for reflection, and moments of stillness are just as important as movement and action. Without proper recovery, your energy diminishes, and with it, your emotional stability. Passion is another source of energy that cannot be ignored. Have you ever noticed that when you are doing something you love, you can go for hours without feeling tired? Passion creates energy because it aligns you with what truly matters to you. If you constantly feel drained, ask yourself, am I spending my time on things that excite me, challenge me, and make me come alive? If the answer is no, your energy will always be low, no matter how much sleep, food, or exercise you get. Passion fuels the human spirit, and without it, life becomes a struggle. Energy is the foundation of everything. When your energy is high, challenges seem smaller, opportunities seem greater, and your ability to take action becomes effortless. When your energy is low, even the smallest obstacles feel overwhelming. The good news is you are in complete control of your energy at all times. You don't need to wait for motivation, the right circumstances, or someone to inspire you. You can generate your own energy by changing your movement, your breath, your focus, your environment, and your habits. This is why the most successful people in the world have rituals to manage their energy. They don't just hope for good days. They create them. They start their mornings with movement, deep breathing, gratitude, and visualization. They fuel their bodies and minds with things that keep them strong. They avoid negativity and protect their energy like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. Your energy is your responsibility. If you are not managing it, you are losing control of your emotions, your actions, and your results. But once you take ownership of your energy, you take ownership of your life, because energy creates emotion, and emotion drives everything. When you master your energy, you master your destiny. Life is a series of patterns. Everything you do, from the way you think to the way you react, follows a pattern that has been built over time. Some patterns empower you, pushing you forward, creating strength, confidence, and momentum. Others hold you back, keeping you trapped in cycles of stress, doubt, and frustration. The difference between those who struggle and those who thrive is the ability to recognize these patterns and break them when necessary. Because the truth is, if you don't control your patterns, they will control you. If you don't consciously decide how you want to think, feel, and act, your brain will default to whatever has been repeated. The most, even if it's not serving you, think about the last time you felt stressed or angry. What happened in that moment? Did you tense up? Did your breathing become shallow? Did you start replaying the same negative thoughts in your head? That wasn't random. That was a pattern. Your brain and body have been trained to respond to stress in a certain way. And unless you actively break that pattern, it will continue to repeat itself. The same is true for any negative emotional state, whether it's anxiety, frustration, procrastination, or fear. These are not just feelings. They are loops your mind has been running for years, and they will continue unless you interrupt them. Breaking the pattern is the key to taking control of any moment. The second you feel yourself slipping into a negative state, you must do something radical to shift your energy and disrupt the automatic cycle. This can be as simple as standing up and moving your body, taking a deep breath, clapping your hands loudly, or even shouting something empowering. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's different from your usual response. The goal is to shock your system out of autopilot and create space for a new, more powerful response. Most people stay stuck in their emotions because they don't realize they have the power to change them. They assume that once they feel a certain way, they have to stay in that state until it fades on its own. But that's a lie. You are not your emotions. You are the creator of your emotions. And just as easily as you can slip into a negative state, you can shift into a positive one. The only thing stopping you is your attachment to old patterns. Imagine a person who always gets nervous before speaking in public. Every time they're about to step onto a stage, their heart races, their palms sweat, and their mind starts creating worst-case scenarios. This has happened so many times that their brain expects it, so the pattern plays out automatically. But what if, instead of letting that pattern take over, they interrupted it? What if the moment they felt fear creeping in, they jumped up and down, shouted with excitement, or threw their arms in the air like they just won a championship? Suddenly their body would send a completely different message to their brain, one of confidence, energy, and control. The fear would dissolve because the pattern was broken, and in its place, a new empowering response would take over. This is the secret that the most successful people in the world understand. They don't let their emotions dictate their actions. They use their actions to dictate their emotions. They don't wait to feel confident. They act confidently, and confidence follows. They don't hope for motivation. They move their body, change their focus, and create motivation. They don't allow fear, stress, or frustration to take over because they have trained themselves to break the pattern and own the moment. Owning the moment means refusing to be a prisoner of your past reactions. It means recognizing that just because you've always responded a certain way doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. You have the power to rewrite your own script. You have the ability to choose a different response, a strong response, one that serves you rather than limits you. But this won't happen by accident. You have to condition it. Every time you break a negative pattern, you weaken it. Every time you replace it with a more empowering response, you strengthen that new pattern. Over time, this rewires your brain. What used to trigger stress will trigger excitement. What used to make you feel weak will now make you feel strong. What used to hold you back will become the very thing that propels you forward. This is why it's so important to become aware of your emotional habits. If you don't know your patterns, you can't break them. Start paying attention to how you react in different situations. What do you do when you're stressed? How do you respond when you feel challenged? What physical and mental cues show up when you're about to fall into a negative state? The more you observe, the more control you gain. And once you identify the patterns that aren't serving you, commit to breaking them every single time. The best way to break a pattern is through movement. Your physiology is directly connected to your emotions, and the fastest way to shift your state is to move differently. Stand up, jump, stretch, shake out your arms, anything that forces your body out of its usual response. If you always slump your shoulders when you feel defeated, do the opposite. Stand tall, pull your shoulders back, and breathe deeply. If you always get quiet and withdrawn when you're anxious, do the opposite. Speak up, move around, and engage with the world. The more radical the shift, the faster the change. But movement alone isn't enough. You also have to take control of your focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. If you constantly focus on problems, you will feel overwhelmed. If you focus on solutions, you will feel empowered. If you focus on what's missing, you will feel lack. If you focus on what's possible, you will feel unstoppable. The choice is always yours. A simple way to shift your focus instantly is by asking yourself powerful questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can I use this to my advantage? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? Instead of, why do I always feel this way? Ask, what can I do right now to change my state? The moment you change your focus, you change your emotions. Owning the moment is about mastering these small shifts, breaking old patterns and replacing them with new, empowering ones. It's about refusing to let your past dictate your future. It's about recognizing that every second of your life is an opportunity to take control, to redefine yourself, and to step into your full power. When you master the art of breaking patterns, nothing can hold you back. Fear loses its grip. Stress becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of suffering. Challenges become opportunities. You stop reacting to life and start creating it on your terms. You become the kind of person who doesn't just hope for change, you make it happen. Because in the end, every moment is a choice. You can choose to stay stuck in the same cycles, repeating the same story. Or you can choose to break the pattern, shift your energy, and own the moment. And the moment you make that choice, everything changes. Self-control is not something you were born with or something only a few lucky people have. It is a skill, a muscle that can be strengthened, conditioned, and mastered. It is the key that unlocks your greatest potential, because when you have control over yourself, you have control over your life. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It is the ability to take command of their own thoughts, emotions, and actions in any situation. When you unleash unstoppable self-control, you stop being at the mercy of your impulses, distractions, and excuses. Instead, you become the master of your mind, your emotions, and your destiny. Most people believe that self-control is about restriction, about denying themselves what they want. But in reality, it is the opposite. True self-control is not about deprivation. It is about liberation. It is the ability to choose what serves you over what weakens you, to act based on your highest self rather than your immediate urges. It is not about resisting pleasure. It is about creating lasting fulfillment. Without self-control, you become a slave to external forces, other people's opinions, your past habits, and your emotional reactions. But when you develop unstoppable self-control, you take back your power. You are no longer tossed around by circumstances. You decide how you will respond to them. The first step in unleashing self-control is understanding that every action you take starts in your mind. Your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings dictate your behavior. If you allow your mind to run unchecked, filled with doubt, excuses, and negativity, your actions will reflect that. But if you train your mind to focus on discipline, strength, and purpose, your actions will follow. This is why self-control begins with mastering your internal dialogue. What you say to yourself every day determines what you believe, and what you believe determines what you do. If you tell yourself, I can't resist this temptation, you are giving away your power before the battle even begins. But if you tell yourself, I am in control of my choices, you create the mindset of strength and mastery. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen self-control is by conditioning your decisions. Most people think willpower is enough, but willpower is like a battery. It drains over time. If you constantly rely on willpower to resist distractions, temptations, and impulses, you will eventually run out. But if you create habits and systems that eliminate the need for constant decision making, you set yourself up for automatic success. The key is to make self-control effortless by designing your environment, routines, and habits in a way that supports your goals. If you want to eat healthier, don't just rely on willpower. Remove junk food from your home and replace it with nutritious options. If you want to stay focused, don't just tell yourself to stop procrastinating. Create a workspace free of distractions and set a clear schedule. When you structure your life in a way that makes self-control easy, you eliminate the struggle before it begins. Another essential part of self-control is emotional mastery. Most people lose control not because they lack discipline, but because they let their emotions dictate their actions. When they feel tired, they skip their workout. When they feel unmotivated, they put off their goals. When they feel stressed, they make impulsive choices. But emotions are not commands, they are signals. Just because you feel an urge doesn't mean you have to obey it. The strongest people in the world are not those who never feel temptation, frustration, or doubt. They are the ones who refuse to let those emotions control them. Instead of reacting impulsively, they pause, observe their emotions, and choose their response deliberately. This is the essence of true self-control, the ability to act based on long-term vision rather than short-term feelings. And one of the fastest ways to strengthen self-control is through physical discipline. The body and mind are connected, and when you train your body to endure discomfort, your mind becomes stronger. This is why top performers, leaders, and warriors push themselves physically, not just for health, but for mental toughness. When you commit to intense exercise, cold showers, or fasting, you are not just training your body, you are conditioning your mind to embrace discomfort, to resist urges, and to push through resistance. If you can control your body, you can control anything in your life. Another powerful tool for self-control is visualization. Your mind responds to what you vividly imagine just as much as it responds to reality. If you constantly visualize yourself as someone who lacks discipline, who gives in to temptation, who struggles with self-control, you will live out that identity. But if you see yourself as powerful, focused, and unstoppable, your actions will align with that vision. Every morning, take a few moments to visualize yourself making strong decisions, overcoming challenges, and staying in control. Feel the confidence, the power, and the certainty of being in charge of your own mind and body. The more you condition this image, the more it becomes your reality. The final key to mastering self-control is understanding that it's not about perfection, it is about persistence. No one is disciplined 100% of the time. You will have moments of weakness, times when you slip up, when you feel like giving in. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is how they respond to those moments. Most people make one mistake and use it as an excuse to spiral backward. They break their diet for one meal and decide the whole day is ruined. They miss one workout and let it turn into a week of inactivity. But those with true self-control don't let one misstep define them. They acknowledge the mistake, learn from it, and immediately get back on track. They don't let failure break their momentum because they understand that self-control is a lifelong journey, not a single event. When you unleash unstoppable self-control, you become the kind of person who does what needs to be done no matter how you feel. You don't need motivation because you have commitment. You don't need external rewards because your reward is knowing you are in charge of your life. You don't wait for the right moment, you create it. This is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who stay stuck. It is not about talent, intelligence, or luck. It is about the ability to command yourself in any situation. The truth is, you already have the ability to control your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. You don't need more discipline. You need to activate the discipline that already exists within you. Self-control is not something you find, it is something you build. And every time you choose strength over weakness, commitment over excuses, and action over hesitation, you are building an unstoppable force within yourself. So the next time you face a moment of temptation, distraction, or doubt, remember this. You are not a slave to your urges. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the master of your own mind, and you have the power to choose how you respond. And when you fully unleash it, there is nothing you cannot accomplish. Unleashing unstoppable self-control is not about perfection. It is about persistence, discipline, and the power to choose your response in every moment. When you master your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you take back control of your life.